I don't think there's a genre harder to develop a game for than a Souls-like. Since Dark Souls, From Software have managed to refine the loop to a fine art, making sure that combat feels tight and fair, while joining together the world design and economy to a level of difficulty that you don't mind smashing your head into for 7 hours just to get good. Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn has a great game in there, maybe even a fantastic game, but the demo I played needed quite a lot of refinement in areas that might make it from an okay game to a good game. This is a demo for Steam Next Fest, and so please take this with a pinch of salt. I don't know how old this build of the game is, and I don't know what refinements or fixes that they have done since. That being said, the game's release date is the 18th of July, and I am a little concerned. Right off the bat, the game did crash, but I didn't have any issues following that in terms of performance or crashing. There's also no specific drivers out for the game yet, so this could have been for a number of reasons outside of the developer's control. Looking over the settings menus, I was surprised with a feature that is missing in so many games, and that's the option to rebind your controllers as well as your mouse and keyboard keys. Keyboard rebinding is a common feature in most PC titles, but the ability to rebind your controllers is missing so frequently and always leaves me disappointed, not only from a preference perspective, but also an accessibility one. The graphics menu started really strong, with frame rate caps, motion blur, and a range of advanced features for Nvidia users like DLSS and frame generation, but really missed the mark when looking into the advanced graphics. Still to this day, one of the best options menu is from Ghost Recon Wildlands, a game that was released in 2017. To the right, it has a visual of what your game will look like, the VRAM usage along the bottom, and it's not a good indicator that your card is going to run well, but it's better than not having it. Wildlands has ambient occlusion, level of detail, anisotropic filtering, terrain and vegetation quality, a number of depth of field options, and so much more. Whereas Flintlock only has what I would say is the very basics. In this department, it leaves so much on the table. And a game 7 years ago has Flintlock completely left in the dust, and that really is disappointing. I would have also liked the resolution options to show the resolution that is being used for DLSS, so I could have a frame of reference as well as the resolution of the monitor. And the last on the con list is the odd scaling of the field of view slider. It's really nice that it's here in a third person game, but it goes from 90 and goes up to 93.8 and then 97.5 and so on. I like a good 100 in my FOV for a third person game, but the incremental adjustment is very, very odd. Audio and accessibility have some very nice options though. Audio having overall, but also splitting music, sound effects and voice into separate sliders for your own adjustment. Accessibility covers some nice colorblind options, allowing you to customize specific HUD elements to different colors, and not just presets. Also adding in text size and backing opacity for the subtitles. The opening scenes of the game loads up after a wonderfully voiced monologue into a thought-provoking battlefield with undead and cannons blasting, as the camera shows off some architecture that looks like it belongs in the ancient world. But the disappointment sets in with some middling texture work and facial animations, coming hand in hand with some mild voice acting from a few characters.
You've got and you know it.
Return to your station, Vanek. Was that?
Can't have been them. The blast came from too low, wasn't nearly loud enough.
I see.
They're late, aren't they?
With the narrative set, we move into gameplay, and the game starts to show off its take on the Souls-like genre. Immediately I found the game only using the default Xbox icons, even though I had a PS5 controller plugged in. This is incredibly irritating when having to deal with X and X and the difference in position from Xbox to PlayStation. The ability to hot swap from keyboard and mouse to controller is always a warm welcome though. The combat of the game starts with a feeling of familiarity to a Souls-like fan, with the basics of blocking, parrying, basic attacks, along with a very short dodge. The leveling and death systems are again very similar to a Souls-like. Dark Souls is obviously a big influence on Flintlock, with the killing of enemies giving you this game's equivalent of Souls, reputation. This is where the game starts to bleed off from its Souls-like brethren, and shows off some of its individuality. Reputation also has a modifier system, where it will reward you from pulling off perfect parries, combos, and dodges, with a percentage increase to the reputation you pick up. Linger too long or get hit and the modifier will drop off, leaving you to collect the baseline reputation. There are a few more additions to the combat that start to add to the complexity to your fight for survival, one being firearms. Firearms can disrupt break attacks that can't be blocked or parried, though a lot of the time this disruption is quickly followed up by an attack to make it more effective to just dodge out the way and attack from behind. Where it starts to fall apart is the consistency of knowing that the game is going to respond or react in a consistent manner. Even in the 3-hour demo, the number of times where I was left bewildered to what the game was trying to do, from a boss thinking I was a wall and trying to vault over me mid-boss fight, to the animations going off in the wrong direction, or 2 animations combining into one attack. It left me wondering if shots were landing and not trusting the game's ability to carry out the commands I was asking it to action. Once the opening scene of the game concludes and you finish a very questionable fight that left me longing for the opening of Demon Souls, you are then introduced to a magical companion, Enki, who starts to enhance you with magic inside and outside of combat. This addition starts to open the gates to a new way of traversing the world, with a triple jump using magically enhanced black powder bombs. This is combined with the addition of a teleport system called Rift Travel. With these systems in mind, you start to stop thinking of levels being so flat and linear, and start to keep an eye open for areas around the world where you may be able to jump across or open up Rift Travel. This exploration will sometimes even lead you to upgrades from side quests and hidden rewards from tools to health increases. This feels like the game's version of Dark Souls shortcuts. When you open up a new route via Rift Travel, or look at a wall from a different perspective, leading you to find new ways to travel the world. But like so much in this game, it's not flawless, and can often lead to the feeling of skipping the level instead of opening a shortcut. At times, I was even left wondering if I had just cheesed my way up a cliff with Rift Travel. It also relies on a somewhat unresponsive and buggy mantling system that can have you face-hugging a cliff mid-air as you clench your cheeks and pray that they will grab the ledge as you try to make out with it. In combat, this magical companion helps you in a number of ways, from taunting enemies when you're facing against multiples, giving access to a stagger bar, and general access to a skill tree of interesting tools and abilities, some of which are very strong. The one we had access to in the demo was a large AoE, which was extremely effective at dealing with large groups of enemies. Towards the end of this demo, I really started to get a feel for what this game could offer. A fresh take on the Souls-like genre, with new ideas to reward skilled players and a vision of a world that isn't just ladders and walkways. The combat combines the might of magic with human dexterity of a well-timed shot. However, the potential of this game is let down by its technical issues, the lackluster music, irritating bugs, and the frustration of losing quest rewards. It's painful because the world hints at a wonder. With intriguing coffee shop owners, the musket-filled, zombie-infested, Egyptian god-ruled landscape, it makes you wonder what's over the next hill. But the technical issues leave me doubtful about the level of execution that we've come to expect from this genre. Overall, Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn has potential, but it needs significant refinement to live up to it. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button, click that bell icon, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, your feedback is more than welcome.